In recent days, the peaceful village where I live has been thrown into turmoil as a pack of wild boars descended, tearing through fields and threatening the lives of the villagers. Listening to my uncle's account, my heart sank as I realized the scale of the disaster that was about to unfold. As darkness began to settle, I knew this was the only time we had to effectively confront the wild beasts. With my team, we set off with a firm resolve to protect our homeland. At 6 o'clock p.m., we reached the hunting grounds. Though it was still early, shadowy figures had already claimed every inch of the land, brutally encroaching upon it. I adjusted the scope, waiting for the perfect moment, then took my shot. The gunshot rang out and the beast fell instantly, but the remaining boars were fast and agile, quickly scattering before I could fire another round. The speed of the animals made us hesitate for a moment, but our resolve to protect the village pushed us forward. We ventured deeper into the forest, prepared to clear out the wild beasts and restore peace to the land. After minutes of tense pursuit, we finally caught sight of one of the elusive boars. A tight perimeter was established from all sides, overwhelming it completely. Without delay, the full assault began. Thanks to our well-coordinated use of modern equipment and specialized signaling systems, tracking the wild boars became quicker and more effective than we had hoped. Modern tools like infrared binoculars proved invaluable, giving us a significant advantage. Through them, every lone shadow was quickly illuminated under my sharp gaze. Without hesitation, a bullet flew, taking down the target swiftly. Maximizing the clarity of my vision, I continued to lock onto each beast, maintaining perfect control over the situation. With this edge, we drew closer to our goal of restoring peace and protecting the quiet lives of our beloved village. After hours of battle, the number of boars we had taken down had grown significantly, but it still wasn't enough to halt their terrifying reproduction rate. Quiet footsteps continued to stalk us. And just minutes later, the boars appeared again, both in groups and as solitary figures, hiding in every nook and cranny, making the hunt more complicated and dangerous than ever. We quickly spread out to strategic positions, narrowing the gap with each move. When Thomas called out, 3, 2, 1, a burst of gunfire shattered the tension in the air. Soon, the area was engulfed in deep silence, a temporary sign of victory. By 10 o'clock p.m., the wild boars began their next wave of attacks. We swiftly cordoned off every position, from the edges to the center of the fields, ensuring they had no chance to invade or destroy. As soon as the target appeared, a coordinated series of actions took place without a moment's delay. The synchronicity and precision in our movements allowed us to maintain our advantage during the critical moments. After a clean shot, we quickly bagged more valuable trophies. We carefully searched every corner, quickly spotting the lone boars trying to hide. Each precise shot rang out, marking a crucial step in our fight to protect the peace of our homeland. However, the wild boars still weren't giving up. The last remaining figures, trying to conceal themselves in the shadows, were swiftly detected and tightly controlled. Now, the villagers could rest easy, no longer having to fear the devastating raids of these wild beasts. With the food sources in the forest running low, wild boars are forced to leave their shelters and venture into agricultural areas, causing significant crop damage. According to a report from the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, this situation results in economic losses estimated at billions of dollars each year. For this reason, we, the resilient hunters, are constantly finding ways to deal with and drive away these increasingly aggressive boar herds to protect our livelihoods. The hunt begins, all for our crops. Before the first light of dawn, the entire forest was shrouded in thick fog, presenting a significant challenge for the hunting team. Although we had equipped ourselves with specialized binoculars, visibility was still severely limited, making observation extremely difficult. However, with years of experience, I remained patient and calm, closely monitoring every movement. Suddenly, a dark shape materialized through the fog. No mistake, it was our target. I quickly raised my rifle, my finger poised on the trigger. A suppressed shot rang out, swift and precise. The prey dropped. The opening shot was tough, given the weather conditions, but we secured a victory. Taking down the first boar in such harsh circumstances was a feeling of satisfaction beyond words. Not everyone has the ability to herd wild boars into one spot, but that's exactly what we're doing. The boars are being driven into a tight area. Look at that! How should we deal with these aggressive creatures? This is how we, the hunters, eliminate a large number of boars, but it comes with considerable risk. At the right moment, I squeeze the trigger, sending the first boar crashing to the ground. Its fall causes the rest of the herd to scatter in all directions. The speed of the bullet can't keep up with the fleeing boars. As expected, I quickly team up with Jack to encircle the herd and take down as many as we can. Boom! The second shot hits, taking down another target. Perfect! We've given it our all. This was a fantastic display of teamwork. Exactly what's needed in a hunt like this. The dry season has come, leaving the fields barren, so the wild boars tend to move towards areas with running water. Despite their cunning nature, wild boars are still driven by habits, and this stream is a prime spot, offering plenty of food and water, making it a regular destination for them. All Jack and I had to do was patiently wait and stay hidden. Suddenly, Jack signaled to me, and without a word, we both knew what to do. The boar revealed itself, and the sound of the gunshot was sharp and decisive, ending its life right there. Quick, clean, and efficient, leaving us with a satisfying sense of accomplishment. What did you think of that shot? Leave a comment below and let us know. There it is! I smell boar! Jack exclaimed as if he had stumbled upon something precious. In front of us was a whole herd of wild boars, engrossed in foraging, completely unaware. It was a tough situation since our team was limited in number, and we couldn't take them all out at once. But sometimes, it's better to take the shot than hesitate and miss the chance. Without overthinking, I chambered around, aimed precisely, and squeezed the trigger. Quick and fluid, the lead boar fell. This was a clear declaration of our commitment to protecting the crops. Meanwhile, on the western side of the forest, James had trapped a wild boar that was casually searching for its dinner. It was completely oblivious to its surroundings, lost in its meal hunt. James patiently waited for the boar to move into the perfect position. Now was the time. His finger tightened on the trigger, and the bullet shot forward. The boar startled, turning back, but before it could react, it collapsed. As we were packing up to head back to the village, the hunting dogs began barking loudly in the forest. They had driven a clever wild boar out of its hiding spot. This was the moment. We weren't in a hurry to leave. Instead, we got ready to take our positions. A herd of wild boars, a fairly large number. The opportunity had arrived, and we signaled to open fire simultaneously, but some of the boars managed to escape. Undeterred, James moved ahead and took down a massive boar trying to make its getaway. Just as it charged out, seemingly about to escape, the sound of a gunshot rang out. The deafening blast marked yet another victory for the day. The challenging hunt has finally come to a victorious end. This is a well-deserved reward for our teamwork and perseverance. How did you feel about today's journey? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for the next episode where we'll be hunting on the snowy hills, with plenty of exciting moments waiting for you. Goodbye for now, and see you next time! Coming back to visit my mother, my heart sank as I looked across the rice fields. Once lush and nearly ready for harvest, now left in ruins. Countless hoofprints told a story that couldn't be denied. Wild boars had torn through our land like a storm. That's why we set out, not just for my family, but for the sweat and effort of the entire village. Would we return safely from this mission? Only time would tell. Today's strategy was clear. Each man had a designated position, radios at the ready for coordination and backup. Our camo was scent marked to perfection, boots built for traction on uneven terrain, and our trusty Land Rover Defender stood by, ready to carry us into the heart of danger. Before sunrise, I was already stationed inside my hunting blind, about 40 meters downwind from the auto feeder. At exactly 6 o'clock a.m., the machine would release corn, its crunching sound and rich scent the perfect bait to lure in the pigs. Minutes later, a hulking shadow emerged from the mist, lumbering toward the feeder. The moment it lowered its head, completely unaware, this was the golden moment. I slowly raised my rifle, lined up the crosshairs on its weak spot, held my breath, and squeezed the trigger. The first shot hit its mark, a clean takedown. The hunt had begun. Less than an hour later, David's voice crackled through the radio. Another target down, one more glutton off the field. Gunshots echoed through the woods, each one a declaration. Peace is being restored. Moments later, more shots rang out from the team. Everything was going exactly as planned. The sun was high. We moved deeper into boar territory. Based on years of experience, I picked a spot behind a massive tree, upwind, overlooking a small clearing, a perfect shooting lane. Soon, a group of wild boars emerged, unsuspecting. I waited, breath held, as they stepped into my kill zone. The bullet tore through the air, hitting its mark with deadly precision. They never even had the chance to cry out. The deeper we ventured, the darker it became. Then, the unmistakable rustling and snorting of pigs up ahead. They were busy feasting, unaware of the danger watching from behind a tree.
You smoked him.
I locked in on the biggest one, likely the leader. One deep breath, and I pulled the trigger. Another menace wiped from the land. That shot was the result of years of discipline, patience, and instinct, owned by countless hunts. David's voice crackled over the radio. Big sounder spotted, West Forest Edge. We moved in immediately to assist. When we arrived, an entire herd of wild boars, big and small, were lost in their feeding. The tactic now was clear: take out the alpha. My eyes swept across the group, searching for the largest, most aggressive animal.
Wait till I'm getting in range.
I calmly locked the crosshairs on the leader and squeezed the trigger. The round struck true. The big boar collapsed. With its commander gone, the herd scattered like a hive struck by a blow. The greatest threat was neutralized. We let out a collective sigh of relief. Dusk had fallen, but the mission wasn't over. This is when they're most active. We returned to our ambush points near the feeder. Night descended, and the shadows returned. The boars had no idea the Reaper was waiting. I picked the largest of the bunch and gave it the final shot, the last strike that closed out a tense but effective day of hunting. Doing this work takes more than guts, quick reflexes, and persistence. It takes a heart of steel that doesn't flinch at danger. Everything we do is to protect the rice fields heavy with grain, to buy peace for the village. Which shot impressed you the most? Drop a comment below.
At 4 a.m., while the entire city still lay wrapped in sleep, we were already deep in the western forest. This wasn't a casual stroll. This was a mission. Beneath these leafy canopies lurks an uninvited enemy, relentlessly ravaging the hard work of farmers, turning lush green fields into battlegrounds. Today, we set out to answer their silent cries, their weary sighs. Will peace ever return to this land? Come with us and find out. As dawn broke, the mountainside became our first battleground. And we didn't have to wait long. At 6:15 a.m., right at the forest's edge, our target appeared exactly as predicted. My first shot struck its shoulder. It immediately changed course, trying to flee up the hillside. The second shot gave it no chance. It collapsed, forever lying on the land it never belonged to. Mission accomplished. What do you think? Was that shot a masterpiece? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let us know. We pressed deeper along the narrow trail leading into the fields. The target appeared, completely unaware it was stepping into death's crosshairs. The bullet struck the vital spot, ending the threat in an instant. A single shot echoed through the air, guarding the harvest and keeping the fields forever green. They think speed means escape. They're wrong. Watching it charge like a runaway car, I didn't rush. I waited for it to step into the perfect trap. Boom. Game over. The bullet stopped it dead in its tracks. Forever, at the edge of life and death. Only the fastest gets to write the final chapter. I spotted it limping from a distance. I knew this prey would be an easy catch. I gave it a warning shot. It chose to run. The second shot sent it tumbling like a puppet with its strings cut. In a life or death battle, the slowest becomes dinner. After a midday break, we moved down to the plains where tougher, craftier targets lurk, masters of hiding who demand the teamwork of an entire hunting squad. From the watchtower, my teammate David wasn't just observing the beast, he was guarding the peace of this land. When the intruder appeared, there was no hesitation. One decisive shot pinned it down. It fell, and the threat was eliminated. No second bullet needed. One was enough. A clear message. There's no place here for destroyers like the wild boar. When the barking echoed right beside the bushes, I knew the moment had arrived. Just as planned, the strong wild boar was driven out by the pack of hunting dogs from deep within the thicket. Willingly walked straight into death's waiting arms. One clean shot ended the flawless teamwork. It looked for a place to hide, but I found a place where it would lie forever. The sun blazed down harsher and hotter than ever. There it was, a heart-pounding chase as the wild boar poured every ounce of strength into fleeing from the relentless pack of hunting dogs. The barking grew louder, signaling the target was racing straight into the trap. The moment it came into sight, I delivered the finishing bullet, ending the chase in an instant. One shot rang out, keeping the field safe and sound.
fateful moment, the decisive shot across the vast open field. Amid the vast expanse of the Turkish plains, a devastating scene unfolds before our eyes. Wild boars, armed with razor-sharp claws and immense strength, are wreaking havoc everywhere. The ground is torn apart, vegetation destroyed, leaving scars that cannot be erased, a relentless warning of their fury. John's hunting team wastes no time stepping into this fierce battle. Can they stop the marauders and protect this land? What fate awaits? Stay tuned to find out. At dawn, John's hunting team steps onto the post-harvest fields in Turkey, ready for a challenging hunt. Everything is meticulously prepared, and every member knows their exact position. From afar, John spots a massive silhouette moving across the field. He cautiously moves closer. Just as he gets near, the beast suddenly charges forward. The sharp crack of a gunshot rings out. The wild boar falls instantly. A swift and precise strike once again. John proves his skill, sending a clear message to the wild boars that they won't go unchallenged. Continuing his advance, John suddenly spots another target through his binoculars. Trusting his instincts, he predicts exactly where the boar will head next. Calm and focused, he raises his rifle toward the wild boar. The animal moves silently across the open field. The moment arrives, John locks onto his target. A powerful shot rings out, precise and unerring. Despite all its strength, the boar cannot escape its fate. It collapses onto the dry earth, no longer a threat, restoring peace to the local community. The hunt is far from over. John quickly jumps into the off-road vehicle and speeds off in pursuit. Dust clouds rise as the vehicle races forward. Within minutes, another wild boar appears right in their sights. As they close in, the prey suddenly turns, attempting to flee. But a sharp, decisive shot echoes through the air. Boom! Cutting off any chance of escape. The boar is neutralized instantly. Once again, the field is freed from their destructive rampage. The wild boars here are no ordinary foes. They're cunning and highly alert. At the slightest disturbance, they quickly dash into the nearby forest to take cover. Recognizing the situation, John's team immediately shifts tactics. They move into the forest, gearing up for a new challenging hunt. There it is, a wild boar casually foraging, completely unaware that death is closing in. In the blink of an eye, John executes a series of precise moves. The crack of a gunshot shatters the silence, and the prey falls where it once thought it was safe. In this land, there is no refuge for it. Without hesitation, John and his team press deeper into the dense forest, their eyes constantly scanning for prey. Amidst the thick trees, a plump wild boar moved leisurely, oblivious to its surroundings. Breaking into a cold sweat, John swiftly seized the moment a gunshot shattered the forest silence, marking yet another successful hunt. With speed and pinpoint accuracy, John's shot left the boar no time to react before collapsing. Tonight, the entire village will sleep soundly, having removed a threat to their crops. At the same time, in another position, Kevin was equally formidable, adding another victory to the team with a precise shot. John's hunting squad once again asserted their strength, taking down the invading wild boars and closing a tense day filled with moments charged with suspense. Today's journey comes to a close. The marauders destroying the crops have finally been defeated. This victory belongs not only to the brave marksmen, but also to the close cooperation between the farmers, local authorities, and the unbreakable spirit of the entire team. A heartfelt thank you goes to the wonderful support from the villagers and local government. Rest assured, all our activities are carried out within permitted areas and under the supervision of local authorities. What do you think about this journey? But is this really the end for the wild boars, or just the beginning of a long battle? Each year, the wild boar hunting tournament pushes hunters to their limits. And this time, it's more than just a test of skill. It's a critical mission. With wild boar populations exploding out of control, ravaging crops and tipping the ecological balance, this hunt isn't just sport, it's survival. These beasts destroy farmland, push out rare species, and upset nature's equilibrium. So, I organized the tournament not only to protect the land, but to give true hunters, skilled, brave, and relentless, a chance to prove their worth. At first light, the teams were already gathered at the staging point, geared up and laser-focused. After a quick briefing, each squad split off, moving according to a tightly planned strategy. John's team was the first to strike gold. Knowing the terrain like the back of his hand, and with his four-legged partner sniffing out leads, he locked onto the target in seconds. A deep breath, a sharp pull of the trigger. Every shot landed with pinpoint precision, striking vital points. Beast, a massive brute, stood no chance against this seamless man and dog duo. John wasn't done. His eyes scanned the tree line, steady and unblinking. Sensing something, he split his team, assigning each hunter to cover a choke point. He knew what was coming. Let's see what John's picked up on. And there it is. He's in position. Target in sight. The scope aligns. Boom! One shot. Dead center. The boar was massive, easily pushing 200 kilograms. A clean takedown thanks to John's tactical smarts and deadly aim. But John wasn't the only sharpshooter in camp. Right after his ambush, Nick picked up on fresh tracks. No hesitation, he took off. As the distance between him and the fleeing boar closed, he raised his rifle and fired. One clean shot ended the chase on the spot. It wasn't just a victory, it was proof of the team's unity, focus, and shared mission to keep the land safe. While the western flank was roaring with action, the eastern side, where Thomas's team lay hidden, was eerily silent. For 15 tense minutes, they waited in absolute stillness. Then suddenly, movement. A silhouette emerged from the underbrush. That one moment of exposure was all Thomas needed. A single gunshot cracked through the forest, launching the next wave of the hunt. Thomas quickly realized ambush tactics wouldn't cut it anymore. He led his team in a direct push, relentless and fast. Shadows scattered. The team pursued without pause. One after another, the Boars were brought down in a storm of gunfire and barks. Then, the dogs, well-trained, relentless, picked up a new trail. They tightened the circle, trapping the beast. And once again, Thomas delivered a final precise shot. One more threat gone in the deep quiet of the woods. As the sun dipped low, the hunt came to an end. Each team had achieved their mission. One by one, they made their way back, trophies in tow. But fate had one last twist for Thomas's team. Just as they were preparing to leave, a low sound approached. Closer, heavier. They were ready. A final booming shot echoed through the forest, sealing a perfect end to a long day of hunting. In that fading silence, only the wind and the breath of warriors remained. And with that breath, a silent promise. Every time we enter this forest, we return victorious.